Russian anger is rising over a deadly Ukrainian strike that killed dozens and perhaps hundreds of Moscow's soldiers, and some lawmakers are demanding punishment for commanders they say put troops in danger. Ukrainians on Tuesday woke to news of more Russian attacks that took place overnight. It was the third consecutive night of strikes since New Year's Eve, in what Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky called Moscow's attempt to exhaust his country with prolonged offensives. Ukraine's armed forces say that they shot the majority of Russia's Iranian-made Shahed drones out of the sky in the opening days of 2023. Some NATO members look to turn current military spending targets for the group into minimum requirements. Russian nationalists and some lawmakers have demanded punishment for commanders they accused of ignoring dangers as anger grew over the killing of dozens of Russian soldiers in one of the deadliest strikes of the Ukraine conflict. In a rare disclosure, Russia's defense ministry said 63 soldiers were killed in the Ukrainian strike on New Year's Eve that destroyed a temporary barracks in a vocational college in Makivka, twin city of the Russian-occupied regional capital of Donetsk in eastern Ukraine. Russian critics said the soldiers were being housed alongside an ammunition dump at the site, which the Russian Defense Ministry said was hit by 4 rockets fired from US-made HIMARS launchers. TV footage showed a huge building reduced to rubble as cranes and bulldozers picked through concrete debris lying several feet deep. Ukraine and some Russian nationalist bloggers put the Makivka death toll in the hundreds, though pro-Russian officials say those estimates are exaggerated. Rallies to commemorate the dead were held in several Russian cities, including Samara, where some came from, RIA Novosti news agency reported. Mourners laid flowers in the center of Samara. "I haven't slept for 3 days. Samara hasn't slept. We are constantly in touch with the wives of our guys. It's very hard and scary. But we can't be broken. Grief unites. We will not forgive, and, definitely, victory will be ours." RIA quoted Yekaterina Kolotovkina, a representative of a women's council at an army unit, as telling one of the rallies. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky thanked former U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi as she gave up the gavel running the Democratic caucus to a new generation of leaders. The 118th Congress was sworn in earlier in the day, and with that a new party leader for Democrats in the House. Republicans won control of the chamber in November, and Democrats chose Representative Hakeem Jeffries of New York to run the caucus. House GOP leader Kevin McCarthy was vying to replace Pelosi, but lawmakers have yet to choose a new leader as the chamber weighed in on a third round of votes. Thank you, Nancy Pelosi, for being a strong supporter of the Ukrainian people, and for your leadership in making historic decisions of the U.S. Congress on helping Ukraine's fight for freedom and independence, Zelensky said over his official Telegram social media account. Pelosi led a secret congressional delegation to Ukraine in April, where she pledged Zelensky her support until the fight is done. Emergency crews sifted through the rubble of a building struck by Ukrainian rockets, killing at least 63 Russian soldiers barracked there, in the latest blow to the Kremlin's war strategy as Ukraine says Moscow's tactics could be shifting. An Associated Press video of the scene in Makivka, a town in the partially Russian-occupied eastern Donetsk region, showed 5 cranes and emergency workers removing big chunks of concrete under a clear blue sky. In the attack, which apparently happened last weekend, Ukrainian forces fired rockets from a US-provided HIMARS multiple launch system, according to a Russian Defense Ministry statement. It was one of the deadliest attacks on the Kremlin's forces since the war began more than 10 months ago, and an embarrassment that stirred renewed criticism inside Russia of the way the war is being conducted. The Russian statement Monday about the attack provided few other details. Other, unconfirmed reports put the death toll much higher. The Strategic Communications Directorate of Ukraine's armed forces claimed Sunday that around 400 mobilized Russian soldiers were killed in a vocational school building in Makivka and about 300 more were wounded. That claim couldn't be independently verified. The Russian statement said the strike occurred in the area of Makivka and didn't mention the vocational school. Up to 10 units of Russian military equipment were damaged or destroyed during a strike on Russian-occupied Makivka in Donetsk, the General Staff of Ukraine's armed forces said in a statement. While Ukraine does not generally claim official responsibility for attacks on Russian-controlled territory, the General Staff of the Armed Forces wrote on its Facebook page, "Up to 10 units of enemy military equipment of various types were destroyed and damaged in the area of concentration in the settlement of Makivka, Donetsk Oblast." CNBC could not independently verify the information. Moscow says the attack led to 63 soldier deaths and comprised 4 rockets fired from US-made HIMARS, which hit an ammunition dump that was in the same building as its troops' housing. Ukraine claims the death toll is in the hundreds. Russia aims to exhaust Ukraine with a prolonged stream of attacks across the country, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said in his nightly address. "We must ensure, and we will do everything for this, that this goal of terrorists fails like all the others," he said. "Now is the time when everyone involved in the protection of the sky should be especially attentive." Russian strikes on Ukrainian cities and infrastructure have ramped up of late, marking 3 consecutive nights of bombardment in the latest stream of attacks that began on New Year's Eve. The strikes target Ukraine's energy facilities in particular, leaving millions of people without heating and power amid the bitter winter cold. Russian forces are increasingly leaning on deadly Iranian-made Shahed drones, which have wrought havoc on Ukraine's cities. Zelensky said that Ukrainian air defenses shot down more than 80 of such drones in the first days of January. Russia made a rare public acknowledgement of human loss after dozens of soldiers were killed in a Ukrainian strike on a temporary barracks in Russian-occupied Donetsk on New Year's Eve. Its admission that 63 soldiers were killed, a figure that CNBC has not been able to independently confirm, but that Kyiv officials claim is much higher, signifies one of the most brazen Ukrainian moves in the war to date. It has stoked public anger in Russia, with calls that commanders who allegedly put their troops in danger be punished. Russian military bloggers said the barracks, situated in the city of Makivka, were in the same building as a large ammunition storage dump, and that commanders knew it was in the range of Ukraine's rockets, Reuters reported. The amount of stored ammunition is believed to have caused the high level of destruction. Russia's defense ministry said the attack was carried out with 4 rockets fired by HIMARS launchers, which are made and provided to Ukraine by the US. Ukraine has not officially claimed responsibility for the attack, as is typical when the attack is on Russian-controlled land. Ukraine's armed forces described the Makivka attack as a strike on Russian manpower and military equipment.